There comes a moment in every person's life when they feel an itch, a subtle but persistent desire to step outside the confines of their current reality. It might come as a whisper in the middle of the night, a restlessness during the quiet hours of the day, or a nagging thought that refuses to be ignored. This is the call to start over. But starting over doesn't mean discarding everything you've been. It means reimagining who you can become. Imagine for a moment that your life is a canvas. Over time, it gets cluttered with strokes of expectations, splashes of fear, colors borrowed from others. Starting over is your chance to wipe the canvas clean, or at least clear a corner to paint something fresh, something unapologetically your own. Let's explore this art of starting over together, not as a grand, daunting task, but as a series of small, deliberate choices. Before you can move forward, you must unburden yourself of what holds you back. Picture a balloon tied to a heavy weight. It's meant to soar, but the weight keeps it tethered. The same is true for us. We all carry weights, old grudges, self-doubt, societal expectations, and the fear of failure. Think about your own life. What beliefs or habits have you outgrown? What are you holding on to because it feels safe, even though it no longer serves you? Letting go isn't about pretending these things never existed. It's about acknowledging their presence, honoring their role in your journey, and then setting them down so you can walk unencumbered. This act of release requires courage. It's not easy to admit that something or someone is no longer aligned with your path. But consider this: every great story involves a moment of shedding, a moment when the protagonist decides to leave the familiar behind in pursuit of something greater. Your life is no different. Starting over doesn't require a grand announcement or a drastic upheaval. It begins with one simple, deliberate step. The problem is, we often get paralyzed by the enormity of the change we seek. We think, if I can't see the whole staircase, how can I possibly climb it? But as Martin Luther King Jr. wisely said, take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. What does that first step look like for you? It might be as small as cleaning out a drawer to create physical space, or as significant as leaving a job that no longer fulfills you. It could be calling a friend you've lost touch with, or signing up for that class you've always wanted to take. Here's a personal story. A few years ago, I felt caught in a cycle of monotony and self-doubt. One day, I decided to do something seemingly trivial. I started journaling every morning for 5 minutes. That small act became my first step. It gave me clarity, helped me confront my fears, and eventually led to larger shifts in my life. Never underestimate the power of a single step. One of the greatest barriers to starting over is the fear of failure. We've been conditioned to view failure as an endpoint, a sign that we're not good enough or that we've made the wrong choice. But what if we reframed failure as a teacher, as part of the process? Imagine a child learning to walk. They stumble and fall countless times, yet no one calls them a failure. Each fall is simply a step toward mastery. Why then do we judge ourselves so harshly when we falter? In the journey of starting over, failure is inevitable. You'll try new things and some of them won't work. But every misstep is a lesson. Every setback an opportunity to recalibrate. When you embrace this mindset, the fear of failure loses its grip. To start over, you must first dare to imagine a new version of yourself. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture the life you want, not in vague terms, but vividly. What does your ideal day look like? Who are you with? What work are you doing? What feelings dominate your heart? This vision becomes your North Star. It doesn't mean you'll achieve every detail exactly as you imagine, but it gives you direction. Without a vision, it's easy to drift aimlessly. With one, every step you take becomes purposeful, no matter how small. Consider the stories of people who've reinvented themselves. J.K. Rowling was a single mother on welfare before she wrote Harry Potter. Colonel Sanders was in his 60s when he founded KFC. These individuals didn't wait for permission or perfect circumstances. They dared to imagine a different reality and took steps toward it. Starting over is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We live in a culture obsessed with instant results, 30-day challenges, overnight success stories, quick fixes. But real transformation takes time. Think of a garden. You plant seeds, water them, and wait. At first it seems like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, roots are growing, preparing to break through. The same is true for your journey. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories along the way and trust that the seeds you're planting will bear fruit in time. Starting over isn't a one-time act. Life will ask you to begin again and again in different seasons and circumstances. Each time it will feel both terrifying and exhilarating. But with each new beginning, you become more resilient, more attuned to your inner voice. Remember, you are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every triumph has shaped you. You carry all that wisdom into your next chapter. As you stand on the edge of this new beginning, remember that you are both the artist and the masterpiece. The tools are in your hands, the canvas before you. Don't worry about creating something perfect. Perfection is a myth. Instead, focus on creating something true. The art of starting over is not about erasing the past. It's about weaving it into a tapestry of growth, about using it as a foundation for the life you're building. Take a deep breath. Let go of what no longer serves you. Take that first step, however small. Dare to imagine a new version of yourself. And trust that the journey ahead, with all its twists and turns, is worth every moment. Your story isn't finished. In fact, it's just beginning. When we think of change, we often imagine dramatic transformations, big leaps that alter the course of our lives in an instant. But more often than not, change is not a sudden storm, it's a gentle, consistent drizzle. It's not the thunderclap that makes the difference, but the steady rhythm of rain shaping the landscape. This is the essence of consistency, showing up day after day, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Let's dive into the rhythm of this dance and explore how consistency, though often underestimated, can become the most powerful force in your life. Many people begin their journey of change fueled by a surge of motivation. Perhaps it's the start of a new year, an inspiring book, or a deep realization that something needs to shift. Motivation is thrilling, it feels like the wind at your back. But here's the truth, motivation is fickle. It fades. Think about the last time you felt motivated to start something, a workout routine, a new project, or even a healthier diet. Chances are that initial spark didn't last long. Maybe it was replaced by exhaustion, doubt, or distraction. This is where most people give up, believing they've failed. But the secret to lasting change isn't motivation, it's discipline. Discipline is what carries you forward when the excitement wears off. It's waking up at 6 a.m. to exercise even when you'd rather stay in bed. It's sitting down to write when inspiration feels like a distant memory. Discipline is what transforms fleeting intentions into enduring habits. Consistency, then, is the result of discipline. It's the commitment to keep showing up, no matter how you feel on a given day. Imagine dropping a single penny into a jar every day. At first, it feels insignificant. A penny? What difference could that make? But over time, those small daily actions add up. By the end of the year, you have $3.65 not a fortune, but more than you started with. Now imagine compounding that penny's value, doubling it each day. By the end of a month, you'd have over $5 million. This is the power of the compound effect, a concept that applies not only to money, but to every area of your life. When you practice consistency, even the smallest actions compound over time. 5 minutes of meditation each day can lead to greater peace and clarity. A daily walk can improve your physical and mental health. Reading a page a day can make you more knowledgeable and insightful. The problem is we often dismiss small actions because they don't yield immediate results. But consistency isn't about instant gratification, it's about long-term transformation. Consistency thrives on habits, but how do you create habits that last? It starts with understanding the psychology behind them. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to overhaul their lives all at once. They commit to running 5 miles a day, meditating for an hour, quitting sugar only to burn out within a week. Instead, focus on small, manageable changes. Want to start exercising? Begin with 5 minutes a day. Want to write a book? Commit to writing 50 words daily. Small wins build momentum, and momentum fuels consistency. Habits stick when they're tied to something you already do. This is called habit stacking. For example, if you want to start journaling, Link it to an existing routine like brushing your teeth or drinking your morning coffee. The familiar act becomes a cue for the new habit. Seeing your progress, no matter how small, can be incredibly motivating. Use a calendar, a habit tracking app, or a simple notebook to mark each day you stick to your commitment. Over time, you'll build a streak that you won't want to break. Goals are important, but they're outcomes. Systems are the processes that get you there. For instance, if your goal is to lose 10 pounds, your system might include meal prepping on Sundays, drinking water before meals, and walking 30 minutes a day. Focus on the system, and the goal will take care of itself. Consistency isn't easy. There will be days when you don't feel like showing up when life gets in the way, or your motivation wanes. This resistance is normal, but it doesn't have to derail you. Think about the challenges that might arise and plan for them. If you know your mornings are chaotic, prepare the night before. If you tend to skip workouts when you're tired, schedule them for a time when you have more energy. One of the biggest threats to consistency is the all-or-nothing mindset. If you miss a day, it's easy to think, I've failed. I might as well give up, but consistency isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. If you fall off track, forgive yourself and start again the next day. On tough days, reconnect with your deeper motivation. Why did you start this journey? What's at stake if you give up? Keep that why front and center. It's your anchor when the seas get rough. Consistency doesn't just change your habits, it transforms your identity. Each time you show up, you reinforce the belief that you are the kind of person who takes action. Over time, this becomes a part of who you are. For example, if you commit to writing every day, even for 10 minutes, you begin to see yourself as a writer. If you meditate daily, you embody the identity of someone who prioritizes mindfulness. These small, consistent actions create a ripple effect, influencing how you see yourself and how others see you. This transformation extends beyond you. When you show up consistently, you inspire those around you. Your commitment becomes a source of encouragement for friends, family, and colleagues. Your actions remind them of what's possible, creating a collective wave of change. Why do I call consistency a dance? Because it's not rigid or mechanical, it's a rhythm, a flow that adapts to the seasons of your life. Some days you'll move gracefully, other days you'll stumble. But the key is to keep moving, to keep showing up. There's a beauty in this dance. It's in the quiet moments of persistence, the days when no one is watching, the small victories that only you notice. It's in the act of choosing, again and again, to honor your commitments to yourself. Time is both your ally and your challenge in the dance of consistency. It can feel frustratingly slow, especially when progress isn't visible. But time is also what allows your efforts to bear fruit. Think of a bamboo tree. For years, it grows underground, invisible to the eye. Then, seemingly overnight, it shoots up to incredible heights. But that growth isn't sudden, it's the result of years of steady, unseen work. Your journey will be similar. Trust that the seeds you're planting today will bloom in their own time. As you embrace the dance of consistency, ask yourself, what is one small step I can take today? Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. Start now with what you have. Remember, consistency isn't about grand gestures. It's about the quiet power of showing up again and again until one day you look back and realize how far you've come. This is your dance. Let it carry you forward. In the journey of transforming your life, there is a stage that seems counterintuitive. It's not about fighting harder, pushing further, or controlling every detail. It's about surrendering, letting go of the need to dictate the outcome, and trusting in the unfolding of life itself. Surrender isn't about giving up. It's about releasing resistance. It's about recognizing that while you can control your actions, you cannot always control the results. It's a dance with the unknown, a practice of aligning with the flow of the universe rather than struggling against it. Let's explore the profound power of surrender and how embracing it can lead to unexpected breakthroughs and deep transformation. From a young age, we are taught to take control of our lives. We make plans, set goals, and envision our futures. While these practices are valuable, they also create the illusion that we can control everything. Think of a river. You might build dams or canals to direct its flow, but you cannot control the current itself. Life is much the same. There are forces, circumstances, people, and even your own emotions that lie beyond your control. Yet we exhaust ourselves trying to manipulate these forces, believing that if we just try hard enough, we can make life bend to our will. But here's the truth: control is limited. And the more we cling to it, the more we suffer. The tighter we grip, the more life slips through our fingers. Surrender begins with a simple but profound realization some things are beyond your control. That's okay. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you clench your fist trying to hold on tightly, the grains will slip away. But if you open your hand, the sand remains. This is the paradox of surrender. By letting go, you've gained something far greater: peace, freedom, and the ability to adapt to life's flow. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring or that you become passive. It means you release the need for certainty and control, trusting instead in the process. It means accepting what is rather than resisting it. The role of acceptance. Acceptance is the cornerstone of surrender. It's not resignation or complacency, it's the courage to face reality as it is. Consider this: when you resist something, a difficult situation, a painful emotion, or an unforeseen setback, you create inner tension. You fight against what already exists, wasting energy and deepening your suffering. But when you accept reality, you free yourself from that struggle. Acceptance doesn't mean you like or approve of the situation, it simply means you acknowledge it as part of your journey. Here's an example. Imagine you're caught in a sudden rainstorm. You can curse the weather, blame yourself for not bringing an umbrella, or try to outrun the rain. None of these actions will stop the downpour. But if you accept the rain, you can focus on what you can do: find shelter, enjoy the coolness, or even dance in it. Acceptance allows you to respond rather than react. It creates space for clarity and wisdom, helping you navigate life's challenges with grace. The wisdom of uncertainty. One of the hardest parts of surrender is embracing uncertainty. We crave answers, plans, and guarantees. But life, in its infinite wisdom, rarely provides them. Uncertainty is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It forces you to let go of rigid expectations and open yourself to possibilities you might never have considered. Think about the most transformative moments in your life. Were they carefully planned, or did they arise from unexpected opportunities, coincidences, or challenges? Often, the greatest growth occurs when we step into the unknown. Surrendering to uncertainty means trusting that even when you can't see the full picture, the pieces will eventually fall into place. It's a practice of faith, not blind faith, but faith in your ability to adapt, learn, and thrive, no matter what happens. At the heart of surrender is trust in yourself and others and in the universe. Surrender begins with believing in your own resilience. You've faced challenges before. You've overcome them. Trust that you have the strength, wisdom, and creativity to handle whatever comes your way. Surrender also involves letting go of the need to do everything yourself. Trust the people in your life, family, friends, colleagues to support and guide you. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a bridge to deeper connection and collaboration. Finally, surrender requires faith in the larger forces at play. Whether you call it fate, destiny, God, or simply the natural flow of life, trust that there is a purpose to your journey, even when it's unclear. When you surrender, you open yourself to life's gifts that often arrive in unexpected ways. Letting go of control frees you from the weight of unnecessary worry. You no longer have to micromanage every detail or anticipate every outcome. Instead, you can focus on the present moment. Surrender aligns you with the natural flow of life. Rather than swimming against the current, you move with it, conserving energy and discovering opportunities you might have missed. By accepting what is, you free yourself from inner conflict. Surrender brings a sense of peace, even in the midst of chaos. Challenges often carry hidden lessons. When you stop resisting, you can embrace these lessons, growing stronger and wiser. Surrender is not a one-time act, it's a daily practice. Here are some ways to cultivate it. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and take a deep breath. Breathing grounds you in the present moment and reminds you that you don't have to solve everything at once. Focus on your actions, not the results. Do your best and trust that the outcome will unfold as it's meant to. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. It helps you appreciate the journey, even when it's challenging. Meditation teaches you to observe your thoughts without judgment, creating space for acceptance and surrender. Ask for help. You don't have to navigate life alone. Reach out to others for support, advice, or simply a listening ear. Here's the beautiful paradox: the more you surrender, the more control you gain, not over life, but over your inner world. By letting go of the need to control external circumstances, you gain mastery over your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. This inner mastery is what allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. It's what enables you to remain grounded, even in the face of uncertainty. The magic of surrender lies in its simplicity. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less. It's not about striving, it's about allowing. When you surrender, you create space for growth, for healing, for joy. You stop fighting the waves and learn to surf them. You stop clinging to the shore and discover the vast ocean of possibilities beyond. As you move forward in your journey, I invite you to embrace the magic of surrender. Let go of what you cannot control. Trust in yourself and in life's wisdom. And remember, surrender is not a sign of weakness, it's a testament to your strength. This is your dance with the universe. Let it carry you forward.